You think a younger woman is the prize that proves you've still got it? But the truth is, the moment you start treating her like a trophy, you've already lost the man she was drawn to in the first place. Sit with that for a second. Because most older men walk into relationships with younger women carrying the wrong assumption. They think youth is the upgrade. They think energy is the win. They think being chosen by someone half their age is some kind of cosmic confirmation that they've still got value. And while they're busy congratulating themselves, they slowly start making the exact mistakes that destroy the very thing they were lucky enough to be offered. They shrink, they overextend, they overcompensate. They abandon the very qualities that attracted her in the first place. And then one day she's gone. And he stands in front of the mirror, older, more tired, more confused, asking himself the same question every man asks too late. What did I do wrong? You did a lot wrong, but not what you think. And before we get into it, do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Not because I need it, because you do. Because somewhere along the way, no one sat you down and told you the truth about being a man in a world that keeps trying to soften you, distract you, and sell you fantasies that bankrupt your spirit. You need reminders. You need clarity. You need a voice that respects you enough to be honest with you. Hit subscribe. Stay close. Because what I'm about to tell you might be the difference between the rest of your life being meaningful or being a long, slow, expensive apology. Here's what it really means when an older man enters a relationship with a younger woman. It means he is being tested in ways he was never tested before. It means every insecurity he buried in his 20s and 30s is about to resurface dressed up as charm, generosity, and patience. It means his entire identity, what he built, what he stands for, what he believes about himself, is about to be examined under a light brighter than anything he's experienced. And most men fail that test, not because the woman is wrong, but because the man forgot who he was the moment he started chasing her validation. So let's get into what older men need to avoid. Not to win her, to preserve yourself. Because the goal was never her. The goal has always been the man you remain through the experience of her. The first thing you need to avoid is buying her presents. And I don't just mean money. I mean buying with anything. Gifts, vacations, access, lifestyle, favors, time, energy. The moment you start trying to purchase her interest, you've signaled that you don't believe your presence alone is enough. And here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud, a younger woman can smell that energy from a mile away. She doesn't say anything. She accepts the gifts. She enjoys the trips. She lets you spend. But internally, she's filing it away. She's quietly downgrading her respect for you with every transaction. Because women don't fall in love with what a man provides. They fall in love with what a man embodies. Provision is the byproduct. It's never supposed to be the proof. You think generosity will keep her. It won't. Generosity that flows from strength is magnetic. Generosity that flows from fear is repellent. And most older men deep down are giving from fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being replaced. Fear of being seen as old. Fear of being left behind. And she feels it. Every time. She might not name it, but she feels it. And feeling that fear in a man is the fastest way for a woman to lose attraction. That's called overfunctioning. And overfunctioning is the silent killer of every relationship between an older man and a younger woman. You overexplain. You overgive. You overdeliver. You overcompensate for a gap that doesn't actually exist until you make it exist by your own behavior. Stop. The age gap is not the problem. Your insecurity about the age gap is the problem. The second thing you need to avoid is trying to compete with younger men. Don't dress like them. Don't talk like them. Don't chase trends. Don't pretend to like the music. Don't fake the energy. Don't squeeze yourself into a version of masculinity that belongs to a different decade. Listen to me carefully. She did not choose you because you reminded her of a 25-year-old. She chose you because you were not one. The moment you start performing youth, you erase the very contrast that made you attractive. You think she wants someone with the same energy as her? She doesn't. She has friends for that. She has guys her own age for that. She has a whole generation for that. What she doesn't have, what she's quietly starving for, is depth, stillness, certainty, the kind of presence only a man who has lived can offer, the kind of calm that doesn't need to be loud, the kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove. That's your edge. That's your gift. And every time you trade it for some imitation of a man 20 years younger, you give up the only currency a younger woman actually values in an older man. You stop being the lighthouse. You stop being the anchor. You stop being the man she could lean into. And the moment you stop being those things, she has no reason to stay. Because she didn't sign up for another peer. She signed up for a presence. The third thing you need to avoid is mistaking her admiration for emotional safety. This one is hard. Pay attention. When a younger woman is interested in an older man, she often shows it through admiration. She listens. She asks questions. She looks up to him. She softens around him. And he confuses that admiration for unconditional acceptance. He starts telling her everything. His failures, his regrets, his exes, his financial worries, his health concerns, his childhood wounds, his complaints about life. He treats her like a therapist because she happens to listen well. Big mistake. Massive mistake. Admiration is not the same as emotional safety. Admiration is fragile. Admiration is built on the image of the man, strong, calm, capable, in control. The moment you start using her as a dumping ground for your unprocessed life, you crack that image. And you don't just crack it once. You crack it slowly every conversation until one day the man she fell for is unrecognizable underneath the pile of complaints you handed her. You think being open is the same as being vulnerable. It isn't. Open is unfiltered. Vulnerable is intentional. A man can be vulnerable without being burdensome. He can share without unloading. He can be human without being heavy. The older man who survives, who actually thrives in a relationship with a younger woman, is the man who has done his own work somewhere else, with his own friends, with his own mentors, with his own quiet hours. He doesn't bring his unresolved life to her doorstep and ask her to sort it. That's called emotional outsourcing. And emotional outsourcing is the fastest way to age your woman beyond her years. She starts the relationship feeling lifted, she ends it feeling drained, and she'll leave you not because you got older, but because you got heavier. There's a difference. The fourth thing you need to avoid is using your past as a personality. Your stories matter. Your experience matters. Your history matters. But none of it is a substitute for who you are right now. Too many older men live in the museum of their own lives. They tell the same stories on repeat. The deals they used to do. The places they used to travel. The version of themselves they used to be. And they wonder why she slowly stops listening. She stops listening because nostalgia is not presence. A man who lives in his past is a man who is admitting he peaked. And no woman, younger, older, in between, wants to commit her future to a man who has already decided his best years are behind him. She doesn't want a tour guide of your highlights. She wants to be part of a chapter that hasn't been written yet. You think your experience will impress her? It won't. Not in the long run. What will impress her is your appetite for the next thing, your hunger to grow, your willingness to learn, your refusal to settle into "this is who I am" just because you've crossed a certain birthday. The older man who attracts and keeps a younger woman is the man who is still becoming, still curious, still building, still asking, still moving. Stop telling her about the man you were. Show her the man you're still becoming. There's no comparison between the two. The fifth thing you need to avoid is jealousy disguised as wisdom. This is the trap that catches almost every older man eventually. You see her with her friends. You see her on her phone. You see her around men her own age, and the insecurity rises. But because you're older, because you have pride, because you don't want to look like the jealous boyfriend, you dress it up. You give her advice. You critique her choices. You comment on her decisions. You package your possessiveness as life experience. She sees right through it every time. You think you're protecting her. You're not. You're controlling her. And there's a profound difference. Protection is invisible. It's the boundary you hold around yourself, not the cage you build around her. The older man who tries to manage a younger woman's social life, her friends, her clothes, her interests, her freedom, is the older man who guarantees her departure. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, but eventually, because a woman who feels caged will always plot her escape, even if it takes her years to admit it to herself. A grounded man does not manage his woman. He attracts her. He doesn't enforce loyalty. He inspires it. He doesn't demand commitment. He embodies the kind of presence that makes commitment feel like a privilege, not an obligation. That's called sovereignty. And sovereignty is the masculine quality that holds a relationship with a younger woman together more than money, more than gifts, more than age, more than anything. The sovereign man does not flinch when she goes out. He does not interrogate when she comes home. He does not check her phone. He does not need her constant reassurance because he is whole on his own. And his wholeness is what she keeps coming back to. The sixth thing you need to avoid is letting her become your entire world. This one will save your life if you hear it. When an older man enters a relationship with a younger woman, there is a temptation to make her the center of everything. Your social life, your weekends, your evenings, your future, your purpose, your reason for getting up in the morning. And it feels romantic. It feels intense. It feels like love. But it's not love. It's dependency dressed up in cologne. You think loving her means orbiting her. It doesn't. Loving her means standing in your own orbit so steadily that she chooses to come closer because of your gravity, not because of your need. The man who makes a woman his entire world is the man who slowly suffocates her. And worse, he suffocates himself. He drops his friendships. He drops his hobbies. He drops his routines. He drops the very things that made him a full man before she came along. And then he wonders why she starts pulling away. She pulls away because there's nothing left to lean into. You gave her everything. You gave her too much. You gave her so much that you became a mirror instead of a man. And no woman wants to date her own reflection. Keep your life. Keep your friends. Keep your gym. Keep your routines. Keep your projects. Keep your business. Keep your purpose. Keep the version of you that existed before her, and keep growing it while she's with you. Because the day you stop being your own man is the day she starts wondering who you ever were. Now let me tell you who she stays with, because you need to understand the kind of older man who builds something real with a younger woman. Not because he tricked her, because he embodied something she rarely encounters. This man is grounded. He doesn't move on her timeline. He doesn't get rattled by her moods. He doesn't chase her highs. He doesn't crumble in her lows. He has a baseline, a calm, steady, unshakable baseline that becomes the home she returns to. When the world is loud, he is quiet. When she is anxious, he is patient. When she is uncertain, he is sure. Not because he's controlling her experience, because he refuses to be destabilized by it. This man has boundaries. He says no. He says it clearly. He says it without apology. He doesn't punish her for asking. He doesn't sulk when he denies. He simply holds the line, and his line is not a wall. It's a frame. It tells her where the relationship begins and where it ends. It tells her what he will tolerate and what he won't. It tells her, without ever raising his voice, that his self-respect is not negotiable for her comfort. This man has purpose. He wakes up to something bigger than her. His work, his mission, his craft, his calling, his mastery. And she watches him chase it. She watches him build it. She watches him refuse to abandon it for the convenience of the relationship. And paradoxically, that's why she falls deeper. Because women cannot stay attracted to men they can fully possess. They want a man whose center of gravity is somewhere they cannot reach. They want to be invited into a life, not to become the life itself. This man has self-respect. He doesn't apologize for being older. He doesn't apologize for being established. He doesn't apologize for having standards. He doesn't apologize for needing his solitude. He doesn't apologize for the wrinkles, the gray, the slower pace, the deeper voice, the wisdom that came at a price. He owns all of it. And that ownership is more attractive than any cosmetic procedure he could ever buy. This man is present. When he's with her, he's actually with her. Phone down, eyes up, mind clear, heart open. He's not thinking about the next meeting. He's not reliving the last argument. He's not anxious about the future. He's there, fully. And that presence, that deep, masculine, focused presence, is something younger men rarely offer. It's your unfair advantage. Use it. Don't trade it for anything. So here's what you do with all of this. Stop competing. Start contrasting. Stop performing youth. Start embodying depth. Stop trying to be her peer. Start being her presence. Stop confessing every fear to her. Start processing it with your brothers, your mentors, your own quiet hours. Stop showering her with things. Start showing her substance. Stop managing her. Start mastering yourself. Redirect your energy. Take it off her and put it back on you. The body you've been neglecting, rebuild it. The friendships you let fade, revive them. The purpose you put down to focus on her, pick it back up. The standards you soften to make her more comfortable, restore them. The man you were becoming before her, keep becoming him with her or without her. Because here's the part you need to hear. You are not running out of time. You are running out of excuses. The next 20 years of your life can either be a slow decline of a man trying to hold on to something he should have built within himself, or they can be the most powerful decades of your existence. A man's real prime is not behind him. It's whenever he decides to take full ownership of himself. And that decision is available to you right now. You are not the lucky one in this relationship. She is not doing you a favor by being with you. You are not the desperate one. You are not the one who has to perform. You are not the one who has to prove. You are the man. Walk like it. Speak like it. Stand like it. Sit at the head of your own life and let her decide if she wants a seat at that table. But never, ever build the table around her. You are the foundation. You are the frame. You are the answer she's been quietly hoping you would become. Not the version of you that's trying to be younger. The version of you that's finally willing to be fully who you are. Older, wiser, stiller, stronger, not in spite of your age, because of it. Become that man. And the relationship, whether it's with her or with the woman who comes after, or with the life you build either way, will start to feel like the reward it was always meant to be. If this hit something true in you, if you felt the discomfort of recognition while listening, do yourself a favor. Subscribe. Stay close. Because we're not just talking about younger women here. We're talking about the kind of man you refuse to stop becoming, no matter how many years you've already walked. And that conversation doesn't end with one video. It continues. Every week. Every truth. Every reminder you didn't know you needed until it found you at exactly the right time. You don't belong with the men who gave up. You don't belong with the men who shrank. You don't belong with the men who traded their dignity for attention. You belong here. With the ones who decided that age is not a sentence, it's a sharpening. With the ones who chose to keep growing instead of grasping. With the ones who finally understood that the real power was never in being chosen by her. It was in becoming a man worth choosing, by yourself first. Welcome home. Stay grounded. Stay sharp. And keep becoming.